Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in San Diego County today, and we are joined by Kerri Fox. I'm kind of envious of her, I admit it. She is the Director of Marketing for the new Children's Museum, but she's also the President of the San Diego Museum Council. Ooh, I could spend hours, days, weeks roaming through museums. What a great job you have.
It's a lot of fun.
Tell us about the Museum Council for those of us not familiar with it.
So the San Diego Museum Council has been around close to 40 years now. It started in Balboa Park with about 8 museums, and we've grown to be about 40 museums.
And for our viewers statewide, Balboa Park is where there is a concentration of museums.
Right. It's sort of, if you think of the mall and the Smithsonian,
right, well stated,
on a different scale.
Right.
But it's beautiful, and there's a lot of other cultural institutions in the park as well. But San Diego County has so many museums, from Oceanside and Carlsbad all the way down to Chula Vista. And we range from, air and space, natural history, children's focused museums, art, of course, botanical gardens, aquarium.
And why did the museums of this region decide to come together as a council? What's the thinking behind it?
So there's a few things. Initially, I think collaboration, collective impact. Right. If everybody, puts some funds together, then you're elevating arts and culture in general. I mean, making more people go to all of the institutions. And where it's evolved is we do 3 countywide month-long efforts a year. One in October, we do one in February, and we provide access.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, we're going to talk about the October one in a moment. Just for some background, what's the February one and what's the other one?
So February is Museum Month, which we do with Macy's, and we provide half off admission at all the museums, month long.
That's nice.
And then another one that we do in May is called the Big Exchange, and it's where all the members of all the museums can visit all of the other museums with their membership. So it's like having a membership to 40 museums.
Got it.
But the idea is to allow more people to visit museums. And people who may not otherwise be able to afford it or be able to go to so many museums. So it's great for our local San Diego audience, also great for tourists.
And let's talk about October, because we're in October right now.
Yeah.
And this is a special month, if I may say. As the father of 2 daughters, we love going to museums. One of my daughters would benefit from the Kids Free event. Tell us about Kids Free.
So Kids Free it's Kids Free October. For the entire month, kids 12 and under can get in free with the purchase of a paid adult. So 2 kids per 1 adult.
Perfect.
At all the museums throughout the county. We've been doing this for 6 years. It has now evolved into a countywide effort through the San Diego Tourism Authority.
And let's talk about the different permutations of it, because clearly something's working. Last year in 2015, you had nearly 20,000 kids participate. That is a huge number.
It is.
And when you think about all the places that they can go, I mean, like you said, you have a list of 40 museums, one of them being yours, the new Children's Museum, which obviously would be a great draw for the children of both San Diego and otherwise. But you mentioned that the council is now partnering with tourism. Explain that element.
All right, so what the Tourism Authority has done is they've gone to restaurants and hotels and other establishments to also provide kids free during October. So it becomes a much bigger draw for tourists, and San Diego pulls from obviously a lot of different areas.
Right.
And we've also got all the bigger attractions. So restaurants and hotels also provide half off, and I think this year there are about 150 participants. So the museums were 40 of the 150 participants for Kids Free October.
And that's not all. The Metropolitan Transit System has jumped on board. And what are they providing as a benefit during this month of October?
So they provide, on the weekends, kids 12 and under go free with a paid adult, similar to what we're doing at the museums. But during the week, all the time, kids 5 and under go free. So we're partnering with them, and we're encouraging people to take public transportation, which you can. You can get to most of the museums that way. But even not in October, it's a benefit to take public transportation because of those other efforts that they do.
I want to get a sense as to how this particular month grew up. Because it really, on the one hand, it seems so obvious. But on the other hand, it's not easy to wrangle 40 museums to get together to incentivize families to bring their kids.
I agree.
You're right.
I think it was a decision to bring more families to all of the museums.
Right.
Obviously, I'm at a children's museum.
So it's easy.
That is our audience.
Right, that's easy.
But a lot of the museums, to introduce more children, more families, the idea that you could bring them for free and try it out,
Right.
what we see after is, there's a residual effect. They enjoy the museum. Some of the museums sell membership during this time. Even though people came for free, they'll buy a membership so they can come all year long.
Do you have a sense during October what museums, I mean, look, they're all your children. You love them all. There's 40 of them. But do you have a sense as to what museums seem to really attract during this great month of October?
Wow, that's a tough...
I
do
mean,
have 40 members that are going to be listening to this.
Well, how about this? Tell us about the Children's Museum, because it's yours, and so you can give us a sense of...
Terrific.
That's
So what I do see is we do see more people coming in. We do see more tourists. We collect zip code data at the welcome desk if they're willing to give it, and we do see an uptick in people coming. We are also located downtown, so there's the hotels and the convention center. But what we see, it's exciting. I think they're super excited to come, and it's free. That always makes people happy. I do think that some of the museums that tend to have more of a family audience do see a little more traffic. But we have pretty good numbers at most of the museums.
I want to ask about that element because, look, I'll just include myself. I won't include you. The museums when I was a kid, they look a lot different than when our kids are going today, and our kids are essentially the same age. And so what are museums doing, either as part of the October month benefit or otherwise, to move into the 21st century, to keep relevant? Because look, a lot of them deal with history static, but there's still ways to create access points for kids, teens, college students, adults, and seniors so that we can all enjoy.
Right. It's a great question. I think that museums are really focused on engagement.
Right.
I was just at a museum conference just a few days ago, and we were talking about the new era of guest experience, and it was all about engagement. So regardless of what you said, there's history museums, there's all of this, they're all, with their programming, trying to figure out how to appeal to all different ages and really keep the visitor engaged, not just looking at the art. Now, so I'm at the Children's Museum.
Yes.
Obviously, we are very interactive. That's part of our mission. But I see it across the board. They're trying, whether it's with their school visits, their programs at night, weekend programs, classes, a lot of the museums are doing both outreach, where they're out in the field, but also bringing people in. So I do see more of that because I agree. When we were kids, a museum was a very quiet place.
The other element that I notice about museums is the ones that are most innovative, and a lot are, is the ability to access the museum if you're not on site, which I kind of like.
Yeah.
I mean, you can enjoy the museum experience in an interactive way online. And, when you talk about Kids Month October, they're there for the afternoon, but then if you can keep them engaged online for weeks and months to come, I mean, that's the ticket.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because obviously when we were kids, that didn't exist.
Right.
So you could take a brochure home with you.
Right.
But I know our website and all of our museums are working on more robust sites. We have things on there for educators. We've got lesson plans. We have things that kids can do at home. A lot of them you can take a virtual tour. So the idea that the visit at the museum doesn't end when you leave the museum.
So is there a way for us to get involved in the museum council, or would we get involved in an individual museum?
That's interesting. So the council itself, we do have representatives from each museum.
Right.
People can go to our website. There's information on our website about all of the museums. So, and you can see what each museum is doing. So in order to get involved,
it all works out. Go to the website.
If you go to the website, and we've become more active in our social media.
Right.
So there's a lot more information you can get before your visit.
And the website, of course, to learn more about Kids Free October is SanDiegoMuseumCouncil.org. Kerri Fox, thanks for joining us, and thanks for creating this event as part of your collective effort. Her name is Kerri Fox, president of the San Diego Museum Council, also director of marketing at the new Children's Museum. Brett Pomerance here, local edition.